Hello viewers, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
Jumping out of my skin, pull the cord. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, the past is everything.
Hello children, good to see you once again. Today we're looking at mathematics, and the topic we're looking at today is measurement, weights. Measurement of weights. The subtopic for today's class is measuring weight using the metric unit system and the US customary unit system. Before we move on, I would love to introduce myself to you. My name is Auntie Olivia. Now moving on, what is weight? Before we can talk about anything else, we need to first of all define weight. So we're told that weight is the measure of how heavy an object is. Let us prove that. I have 2 cans of water here. It's taking me so much effort to lift this very one. Why? Because it is heavy and this is light, very light. So that is just what weight is all about. You can see that the can on my left hand side was heavier than the can on my right hand side. Now, how do we measure weight? First, I told you that the subtopic for today's class is what? The metric unit system of measuring weight and the US customary unit system of measuring weight. Now, when we're using the metric unit system, we measure weights in kilogram, in short form kg, in gram, short form g, in ton, short form small letter t, and so on. When you're using the US customary unit system, weight is measured in pounds, in short form IB, in tons, in short form capital letter T, and ounces in short form OZ. Now, conversions. Why do we need to look at conversions? Because when you're dealing with weight, you're going to be told to convert either from gram to kilogram or from kilogram to ton, vice versa like that. So when to convert from one unit to another, we can use unit analysis. Let us take notes. To convert from larger units to smaller units, multiply by the appropriate unit ratio. That's our first note, note A in conversion. Now, okay, before we move on to any other thing, I would like to actually explain something here. Larger units to smaller units. What unit are we referring to here? We are referring to the kilogram, the gram, the ton, pounds, tons, and ounces, and the rest of them. Those are the weights, the units that we are referring to here. Now, we also talked about appropriate unit ratio. That is where numbers comes in. Because, for instance, when you look at your mass and weight measurements at the back of your exercise book, you get to note that 1,000 gram makes a kilogram, right? And 1,000 kilogram makes a ton. So that 1,000 there is the appropriate unit ratio for when kilogram and gram and ton is involved, all right? In the case of pounds and ounces, we know that 16 ounces makes 1 pound and 2,000 pounds make 1 ton. Vice versa. You can interchange them like that. Alright? Good. Now, since we have taken note of that, let us move to examples. The example for note A. A car weighs 3 tons. How many pounds is this? A car weighs 3 tons. How many pounds is this? In our solution, first of all, before we take note of the solution, what do you do? Because now, in the case, if you're dealing with problems, mathematical problems, it's not going to tell you something like this. You're converting from larger unit to smaller units. So how are you able to tell? First of all, a car weighs 3 tons. How many pounds is this? So it's asking you how many pounds will be gotten from 3 tons. And now you've come to note that tons is actually larger than pounds, right? The ton is larger than the pounds. So that tells you that you're converting from large to small. And when you're converting from large to small, what do? You multiply. Multiply by what? The appropriate unit ratio. Now in this case, the appropriate unit ratio here would be what? 2,000. because 2,000 pounds make 1 ton. So if 1 ton, sorry please, if 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds, right? Therefore, 3 tons would be 3 times 2,000 to give us what? 6,000 pounds. Please use the short form of pounds. Simple and short. That's it. Quite easily done. Now, since we've known that, let's move to note B. To convert from smaller units to larger units, multiply by the reciprocal of the appropriate unit ratio. Wherever you see reciprocal, just know that it's telling you to divide. It's that simple. Okay? Let's take the example. A truck weighs 6,000 pounds. How many tons is this? A truck weighs 6,000 pounds. How many tons is this? What is the appropriate unit ratio here? 2,000 will be the appropriate unit ratio. Okay? Why? A ton makes 2,000 pounds. 2,000 pounds makes a ton. Now, how do we know that we are converting from small to large? The pounds is smaller than the tons. We want to know how many tons is found in 6,000 pounds. So what do we do? If 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds, right? Therefore, 6,000 pounds would be equal to 6,000 times 1 divided by 2,000. Just to stress the fact that reciprocal simply means division. If you were to say 6,000 divided by 2,000, what would cancel out? The zeros will cancel out, and then you still have your 2 and your 6 left. 2 will cancel itself, and then cancel 6 to give you what? 3. Now in this situation also, where you have 6,000 times 1 over 2,000, the 0 is going to cancel the zeros out, and you're left with 6 and 2. So 2 will cancel itself to give you 1, and then 2 will cancel 6 to give you what? 3. 3 times 2 will give you what? 6. So that's how you know. In other words, how many tons are found in 6,000 pounds? We have 3 tons. Therefore, our answer is equal to 3 tons. That's simple. In order not to confuse you, please, I'd love to rub this off. Okay. Moving on. Our note C says, multiplying or dividing by a unit ratio is mathematically equivalent to using a proportion to convert between units of measure. Now, in this case, I have an illustration. A proportion is simply means A divided by B is equal to C divided by D. This is just an example of a proportion. It could be any letter, it could be any figure, alright? Now, when you're converting between units, it will be A divided by B equal to C divided by D, then you cross multiply. Now, let's take an example just in our own. When you're giving an example like x divided by 3 is equal to 4 divided by 3, how would you solve that? Before then, I have noted here that A and D are called means. B and C are also called extremes. So let's take note of this. Where you have x divided by 3 is equal to 4 divided by 3. What do you do in such instance? You do what? Cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, you have your x multiplied by 3 to give you 3x, and 3 multiplied by 4. So you have 3x is equal to what? 12. One divide, because 3 is the coefficient of x, you're going to divide this equation by 3. When 3 divides 3, it will give you what? 1. And you cannot just write 1x. 1x is the same as x. So you say x is equal to 12 divided by 3 will give you what? 4. That's why it is very important for you to know your multiplication table. because it is very much interrelated with your division, your addition and your subtraction. So x is equal to 4. So when you have a situation like this, you use note C to solve it. Something I missed saying here, when you're dealing with reciprocals, just know that a reciprocal of 2 would be 1 over 2. Okay? Reciprocal of 3 would be 1 over 3. Reciprocal of 1 would be 1 over 1, just like that. For any number, it will be 1 divided by that number. Alright? So I would have loved to really do a recap for this particular lesson, but because of time, children, I would prefer that you go through this video over and over again. That is why it is a recorded lecture. It helps you to go back to any part that you have missed, and then you can recall on your own. Alright? So it is important that you study more. In our next class, we're going to be looking at notes A. So we'll be picking each of them and solve more examples on our notes A to convert from larger units to smaller units. Okay? Before you go, children, I would love that you please register to join our classes on Edmodo to see our classworks or our lessons. You can view our classworks, our assignments, and our notes, and also participate in our Zoom classes. I hope to see more of you, and thank you.